Alright, so I tried to jump it with the jumper. Wasn't really working. Then I found the culprit here. So this wire broke off going to the coil. So that's why it wasn't working. And that happened because the pickup coil down here is super loose and the screw came out holding that in place. You guys look in there. There's the pickup coil right there. I don't know if you guys can see the screw right there. It's supposed to hold that in place. And this was spinning around and jamming into that. So that's not good. I hope we didn't damage anything. It looks like we maybe did, but we'll have to see. The rest of them are tight. I don't know how that backed out like that. Must have been loose already. But that whole plate is really loose. I don't know if that's supposed to be like that. That's weird. But yeah, the whole plate. The sprocket for the... It's not loose on that side. Oh yeah. The plate above the sprocket holding the pickup coils on is super loose. I feel like that should be held in place by something. Otherwise he's gonna grind those teeth down in the starter gear. So that's a big bummer. So now, I don't really know how we're gonna get this thing back home. Alright, it's getting dark out and I'm trying to get this thing on the trailer. I brought my other trailer from home and I'm looking at it. And it might not be wide enough. Oh man, that's gonna be really close. It should fit, I would think. I've got the winch hooked up here, 2,500 pound winch. Got the battery hooked up. We're slowly winching it on. This thing's so sketchy though. So we're standing over here, we've got the remote. We're just gonna see if we can pull this up there. Okay, here we go. You know what I might do? I might take the skid steer and lift up the back a little bit, because that winch is about to give out. So we're gonna lift up the back and then slowly pry it forward. Let's see what happens here. gotta be kidding me. Winch broke right off. Awesome. I don't know how we're gonna get this thing on. Well, we failed and I ripped a skirt. So, yeah, it hasn't been too good. I don't know what we're gonna do now, but yeah, that sucks. What we might have to do is use the other trailer and then just take the engine out tomorrow at my house and then bring it inside to work on it once we get the engine out. What a pain in the butt. All right, it's getting dark. We are giving up. I tried to pull on the trailer right here. The trailer just pulls with the skid steer. I was trying to pull it up the trailer, so that was not working either. And I'm running out of time, so I think we're gonna leave it here overnight. Hopefully it doesn't get stolen, and hopefully it doesn't snow too much. I think we're supposed to get like 10 inches, so I didn't bring a tarp either. So that'll be interesting. All right, it's the next morning after our failed mission. It hasn't snowed yet, so I think the weather was wrong for yesterday, but that's good for us. We're going to grab every tool I pretty much have. I'm gonna grab that toolbox, that toolkit, both drills, all the wrenches, and we're gonna see if we can get this engine out of the Hovercraft today. We've got the whole day to do it, so hopefully we can do it. Well, hey, it wasn't stolen off the land. We have the skid steer and this thing over here. So today, the goal is to get this thing out of here. Because the pickup coils down here are all loose. You can see. So this whole engine's coming out. Looks like we've got to get the exhaust off, engine mounts off, carburetor air filter off, some wiring off, and I don't know what else. It's gonna be a little tricky. She's a little windy today. It's colder than I thought it would be out here. The air filter off of here. Let's see, I got this engine mount off right there, bolt out of there. Let's get the other side off. There's another one right here. 5mm Allen. It's loose like that. It's loose like that. This thing might be pretty easy to take off. Just kind of drops down like that. Look at that. That whole thing will come right out. Huh. Exhaust coming off of here. What the heck is that on there? That's gonna get cut, I think. Not dealing with that. Alright, we gotta get these engine mounts off because the fan has to come through this opening, and if that's in the way, it's gonna rip one of these propellers off. So what we have to do is crank up on this and go through the back side of it, unfortunately. So this little thing comes off like this. Let me see if I can get it to come. And then these little clips hold these on. The apron. What you do is you just take these little clips off of here, them off like that. I've got extra clips, so it's okay if we lose a couple. But that's essentially how you change out the skirt too. Then we're gonna go through here, and we should be able to get that out. I think we gotta take this thing off too. Huh. So these wires are all connected to the pickup coils here. So this looks like this is held on. I can't even tell. I know there's a clip right here. It's holding that on. If we can get that little clip out and see if this will pop off of here, because this is the part we need. It's all wiggly on there. Alright, you can see these are all labeled. There's 4 matches up with 4 for the pickup coil. 3 must just be before 4. So as long as it's going this way, so it's 4, and this is going to be 1. You can see the 1 right there. 2, see the 2 right there. 3, and then 4. And as long as we keep these wires connected to the coil, to the pickup coil, we should be fine. They're all labeled, so. We just have to get that off of there. See, that was the loose one right there. That was the culprit. See, look at how loose those are in there. Alright, just for reference for later, the loose plug in here is number 4. That's cylinder number 4. Because I don't think it's marked on here. So what we want to do is line up 4 with 4 and then the coil with 4 once we put it back together. So this loose spark plug is number 4. Alright, this is what it looks like in here. So it wasn't too bad getting it out. It was probably easier than I expected. Here's the engine. I think what we're going to do is take this thing home and just try to get this thing to work with the starter. I don't know if either the starter is causing problems or the mechanism right here. And that holds the starter in place. So I don't know if that's just worn out or what. Alright, we got the engine in the car. It is super cold out. My hands are frozen right now. And I forgot to bring a hat, so I had to like make a makeshift hat out of gloves strapped to my head with a bungee cord. It's rough out here. But we've got the engine out. That was the main thing. So now we can start digging into that and seeing why that's so loose down here. Alright, made it back home. We got the engine on the bench here. Kind of look over the whole thing. It's kind of funny, this little carburetor is for the whole engine. That's pretty crazy, actually. There's the choke right there. There's throttle right there. This is cylinder number 4. It's got the pipes connecting the two. It's connected to the starter as well. A little mount right there. So I'm gonna try to mark this as 4 in the cylinder. Like that. Up here. Just so that we can see it. Go like this. We don't want to mess up the sequence of how those were aligned. That would be bad. Alright, so here is the pickup coil that went bad, or I guess came loose. It's probably still good. You can see right here, the bolt that held that on came loose, and the one holding this on came loose, so that was not good. But it doesn't look too damaged or anything. Doesn't look horrible. And then the wire, right, where is it? Right here on this coil, disconnected from this one right here. So we need to reconnect that as well. You can see it's just got little clips like this that connect it. So that just connects right into the coil. And then that connects to there. So let's see. We'll flip over the engine here and we'll see if the screw is stripped out that came out, because that's kind of weird. There should be lock washers on it. So you can see, I believe it's this one right here. Came loose right there. So this was connected. Something like this. We are going to go to the hardware store and get lock washers for everything. Just small lock washers. Then we're going to clean up these bolts in the ultrasonic cleaner. And then we're going to tighten these bad boys down. It's definitely not stripped out. That one isn't, at least. So that's good. Why would that come loose then? Let's see if this one's stripped out. Nope, that one's not stripped out either. So that's good. Awesome. You would have thought these came with lock washers, I would have thought. But they did not. So, the other thing that we were thinking was possibly wrong with it was, see how loose this thing is? I don't know if it's supposed to be that loose or not. And that actually holds the starter, you can see down here, in place. See that? So what we might do is just take that off and just see what's going on with it. Alright, got the circlip out. You can see this thing does not move at all. But look how loose that is. That's not right. That cannot be like that. See, you can hear it grinding on here. See up in the corner? So I'm guessing there's some bolts holding that thing down tight underneath here. So if we can get this off, I think we can fix our problem. Okay, let's see here. What do we want to do? That came out. Alright, let's see if this will come off of here. It's coming. Okay. That might have worked. Hopefully we didn't wreck anything. Which we may have. But we need to get that off either way. We can't just leave that on and have this thing be super loose. I can see the screws coming out of it already. So, without breaking anything. It's coming. Yeah, baby. Whew. That's a bearing in there. That needs to be greased up. Look at these guys backing out. So that screw, that just came out. That was loose, extremely loose, and then that one's loose right here. See that? That should be holding that down so it doesn't come up. So let me take that one out and we'll see if they're stripped out in there, what's going on. You can see that one. It's bad as well. And you can see all the rubbing it did. Oh, I think that one broke off in there. That's what happened. Yeah, it's supposed to be that long. So this one broke off in there. Huh. One we're gonna have to fish out of there. Can this thing come out of here? Guess the starter is in the way there. I think we have to take the starter out, but this one's fine. That one's just stuck in there. So what we might have to do is drill that out and try to get that to come out. What a bummer. There are a couple threads, not many. Okay, we're gonna try to get this starter off of here. And it's held on. by these two guys. Looks like 2 Allen bolts right there. All right, we got the starter off. Now this is starting to come out, so we can. It's tough. It's not wanting to come. Off we come. There's the bearing for the starter right there. That feels good still. It needs to be cleaned up pretty good. It's all gunked up. So here is where the broken off bolt is. That's where we need to get to. Now we've got a hole going all the way through the bolt right there. Now we're going to take an easy out, drill that in, and then try to twist that out. Hopefully that'll come out of there. All right, we've got the extractor right here. Let's see what happens. Oh, broke off. Well, there goes $5. Darn it. I might have to drill that out all the way and then re-tap it. Grabbing. All right, after a little trouble, we were able to get this tapped out of here. It's an M6 by 1 metric. So we just use this tap. You can see it's M6 by 1. And I was able to get this to go in about halfway. So now that screw's in about that much and bottoms out where that screw is still cut off in there. But I mean, that's really tight. And we're gonna use Loctite. So that's as good as I can get that. It's not perfect, but at least a couple threads are holding that down now instead of nothing. And then we have the other one right here as well, holding that plate down. So what we're gonna do is soak all the hardware in the ultrasonic cleaner for a bit, get all the grease off of it, and then that way the Loctite will really bind with it. It'll hold really nice for us. Alright, gonna add a little Simple Green degreaser to it. Got a little water in there now. That's good. We'll just dump in our parts here. Cap on. Set this to about 20 minutes. We'll go 30 minutes. And then we want the temp set to like as high as possible. All right, we let this thing go for about 15 minutes. We're going to dump out all these on a paper towel. You can see the water turn really dark black. All right, we got everything cleaned out, everything's good to go, so we can reinstall everything. So this goes on here like this. It's a nice tight fit. And we've got 2 bolts that go in here. And these bolts are actually going to be Loctited in. So let's do that next. You want to use blue Loctite so you can get them back off if you have to. And you really can't heat up around this magnet area. So we're going to use blue Loctite. All right, second bolt going in. Kind of had to modify this one. I had to cut it a little bit shorter. So a little Loctite on there. We don't want these coming off again. That would be horrible. Alright, so I think I found the timing procedure, and I actually called Gary. Gary is the one who made the Air Commander 3s. So I talked to Gary, he's got an eBay, and I messaged him through there, and he told me to contact him through his phone number. So I actually called him, and he said there's actually two types of these engines. He said that there's one like this, where there's no keyway, and there's actually CDIs. And on this one, there isn't a keyway. So he said that most likely you're gonna have to line it up with this, like I'm gonna explain in this procedure. He didn't know exactly, he was gonna call a friend to see exactly how to time these. I think he just made the Air Commander. I don't think he actually made the engine. So he didn't quite know. He was going to get some more information and get back to me. But I think I found on this website, this is for an SD570, it says the ignition system is maintenance free. The distance between magnet rotor, which is this, and ignition electronic boxes, which are the little pickup coil boxes like this. So that distance is supposed to be 0.2 to 0.5 millimeters. For adjusting the distance, the fixing bolts right here are loosened and the boxes in the long holes are shifted. So these must be shifted like this, see? The gate trigger time point is correctly adjusted. If the notching mark on the magnet side of the magnet rotor points in the center of the fixing bolts, so this line right there, pointing towards the center of the fixing point bolts of the accelerator box, and the piston concerned is located exactly in the upper dead center. If this is not the case, the magnet rotor on the crankshaft must be rotated. In addition, the crankshaft socket head screw 12 must be loosened. So we already did that. We loosened the bolt. So I guess you can just move this around, and as soon as you get it perfectly aligned with it being top dead center on this cylinder over here, you're gonna be good to go. So that's kind of how I'm thinking of it. So this line right here has to be dead center between here. So if we mark with a pen, dead center is right there. So when we install this, it has to be lined up dead center and push down so it locks into that. So it locks into the crankshaft there, and we're just going to rotate it. And what I did, because I don't have a gauge for the top dead center, I made a little straw with little marks like this so you can accurately read if it's going up or down, the piston. What you're going to do is rotate this. You can see the lines moving down right now. Like that, see that? And then back up. So we want to find the distance where it stops moving. Right there, about right, well, still moving up. Still moving up just a little bit. So what's funny on this engine is that there's actually a point where it hits top dead center, but it takes a while to come back down. So there's like a gap like this big, and we gotta find the center of that gap, which is a little bit tricky. And without a gauge, it's very, very hard. So we're gonna work on that, and we'll come back once we find pretty close to top dead center. All right, so this spot looks pretty much perfect. So if we're looking at the straw, you kind of have to be close down to here. I'm looking at the fins and the markings on the straw here. Stops moving up right about there. Right there. Then it crosses over to top dead center. And starts moving down like right there. So you can see there's a gap where it moves up, which is right there, and starts moving down right there. So we're pretty much right in between on that mark. So that's right in the middle. So I think we're set right there, pretty good. Okay, to lock this flywheel in place, we're gonna be putting this big bolt in it. Okay, that's pretty much all the way down. Take this. This is supposed to be torqued to, I believe it's 80 Newton meters. Right, to crank this thing, we put a wrench through the starter gear. It's just backing up against the engine here. What we're gonna do is just try to crank this thing over. I think it's already pretty much set. I cranked it over a couple times, so we'll see if it clicks. There we go. 80 Newton meters, 60 foot-pounds about. All right, looks like we're pretty much spot on for the timing for these two cylinders. Let's work on the top two, see if those are good. All right, just fixed up the wiring for the coil here. So this goes on to right here, like that. And this little guy goes on to the coil right here. Like that. So we can now mount this back on here. I believe this was cylinder, I think this was cylinder 1, so I think it goes right here. All right, I went to the hardware store and we got some lock washers, so these don't back off again. So now we're gonna use lock washers and Loctite, and that's gonna prevent that from ever happening again. Here. So right now, let's see what the gap is at. We can see it's hidden. So that's way too big. So that gap right here is supposed to be, let's see here, 0.2 to 0.5 millimeters. 0.2 to 0.5 millimeters. All right, that's a little tight yet. All right, that looks like that's perfect. All right, so this engine's pretty much good to go. You can see no more loose pieces on it. This was all loose before, and it was just really bad. This was all loose before. Now everything's nice and tight. The compression is amazing on it. Everything should be good to go now. So hopefully when we put it back together, the timing's right and it starts up. If it's not, we'll have to take it back out and adjust the timing, which is a pain in the butt. All right, we made it back out here. So the plan is just to get the engine back in and see if it runs. If it doesn't, we'll have to take it back out and do the timing, because that would be really the only thing wrong with it, because it did run before. So we will see. Let's get working on this. All right, it's getting dark, but we got the engine back in. Everything is good to go. Spins smoothly. Everything is good. All the cables are back on. All the attachments are back on. Everything is good to go. Let's see if she fires up here. Got the battery charger here. Let's see what happens. Alright, can the primer. Okay. Oh, I've got the plugs out. I think our starter shot, you can hear it grinding. I should not be doing that. And we're not getting spark either. Why is it grinding like that? Listen to this. It's really, really hot. The starter is. Yeah, it's really warm. I think something's broken in the starter. That sucks. Yeah, the starter's not coming down all the way to twist that. It's just not doing anything. And it's really, really hot. So I think we fried it from when we were trying to start it before and it was binding up. I think she's fried. It's getting really, really hot. That is not good. So I think we're gonna have to get a new starter for it. It is getting really hot. Holy, why is it getting so hot? Huh. That's a bummer. So it does not look like this thing's gonna start up today. I'm gonna have to go on eBay and try to find a starter for it, and then we can quick replace that. At least we don't have to take out the engine to do that. So it's still really hot. All right, well, that was kind of a bust for today, but at least we got the engine back in, and at least it's back together and complete. So it looks like we just need a new starter. We'll see if we can find another starter on eBay and then install that and go from there. So next video, we'll attempt to start this thing. Hopefully it starts up. I'm getting sick and tired of working out in the cold. It's freezing out here. My fingers, I can't feel them. So hopefully, with timing spot on and this thing fires right up, that would be perfect. But we'll see next video. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for subscribing. Stay tuned for next video. And until next time, we are out.